Hello and welcome to You Are Your Own Hero. I am Dr. Tassel Faith Shamebrook, and just the warmest welcome to you, dear hero, for joining us today. And today's topic is transforming your life with self-love. Okay, so I can remember really before my awakening, just hearing so much about self-love, that it was really important for me to love myself. But at that point in time, I didn't really fully understand what that meant. What did it really translate into in my life to actually love myself? What did it mean on an everyday practical basis? What would it look like to love myself? I didn't really know back then. So in this video, I wanted to just share some really concrete, tangible practices of self-love. We're going to go through 10 really tangible practices of self-love. And just to give a little more backstory of my context around self-love, about six and a half years ago, I was going through a very intense dark night of the soul, and I was in a really difficult divorce custody situation around my children. I had a lot of trauma coming up from earlier in my life that I had not yet really dealt with, and I was also living in a new state where I didn't know anyone. I was very much alone, and all of this together, I was really having a difficult time. I was in deep despair, and quite often I really wanted to just jump out of my life. And beautifully, by the grace of God, this book appeared to me in my life. And the book is called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. And in this amazing book, the author talks about being very, very ill and really not knowing how to move forward in his life at all. And he talks about starting a practice of self-love and really just using affirmations. And once he started doing this, within a month or so, a lot of miraculous happenings occurred in his life, and including his complete recovery from his illness. And so at that point in time, six and a half years ago, I started the same practice. I really consciously started a practice of self-love. Before that time, I really didn't have a practice of self-love. And to me, it's really interesting when I look back, it was really when I started this practice of self-love that my external reality started to shift tremendously. And like the author of the book, I also have experienced so many miracles in my life. And I absolutely believe a lot of it has to do with the practice of self-love. So I don't think I can overemphasize how helpful the practice of self-love is, and probably most importantly, it just feels great. It feels great to love oneself. That is the biggest benefit, I think, is just how you feel internally. So, and just to really hone in on this point, we all know the universal law, as within, so without. So as we are embodying love for ourselves, we will see love show up on the external. And this love will come to you in myriad ways. It will be love from other people. It will be abundance. It will be ease. It will be assistance. It will be kindness. All the good things come in when we practice self-love. Okay, so let's go through these 10 really tangible self-love practices that you can start today if it's resonant. So the first one is to set an intention. And so you can set an intention to love yourself. You can say this out loud. You can write it down. It can be just something like, I'm setting an intention to love myself. So when you set that intention, it creates an energy that you're then carrying. You're carrying the energy of loving yourself. And this basically kind of sets a track for you to follow, to love yourself. You've set that intention. You are on that track, as well as then the universe will also respond in kind and meet your vibration of loving yourself, and all sorts of great things will come in. So number one, you can set an intention. Number two, we can use affirmations. I already mentioned that a little bit earlier. I use affirmations every day. Affirmations are really, to me, one of the most useful practices we can do to shift and maintain what we want in our life. So as I said earlier, 6 years ago, I started just with a simple affirmation, I love myself. And I'll say when I first started saying it 6 years ago, I didn't really believe it. I was faking it until I was making it, right? I was saying it, and in the beginning, it didn't feel totally true, but the more I said it, the more it did feel true, and the more it was really going into my subconscious as well. So affirmations are super powerful. You can just start with, I love myself. Okay, the third practice here is presence with yourself. I love this one so much. This is a bit of a newer practice for me. It means we're not leaving ourselves. It means we are keeping connected with ourself, with spirit. And I like to think of it as my energy just going inwards. So for me, and I think for a lot of people, I used to send a lot of my energy out towards other people. And now I'm more in a practice of keeping my energy within myself and staying with myself. I like to ask myself internally, what do you need? What do you need? And respond to myself. This is so loving, so loving. Okay, the next practice is spend some time alone. This was a really hard practice for me to really start, although I was forced into it from my divorce custody situation, which was perfect, which was exactly what I needed. But at first I really resisted spending time alone. I didn't like spending time alone. I would feel lonely. But what I found over time is that the time I have spent alone has been immeasurably precious. The gifts that have come from spending time alone, it's immeasurable. Probably some of the biggest ones are getting to know oneself, really figuring out what you like to do, how you like to spend your time, and then really getting in touch with your guidance, really feeling that connection with spirit is just so precious. So spending time alone, it's a better way to say it is spending time with yourself. That is the best way to say it. You're never alone. You are with yourself. So spend time with yourself is very loving. The next one is act from your own values. Live from your own values. So there are billions of people on this beautiful planet, and each one of us has come in with our own unique, magical blueprint of who we are and what is precious to us. And not surprisingly, it's like a rainbow of different values. It's a spectrum of different values across all of us. And everyone has very unique values. Be true to your values. Don't abandon what is precious to you. Other people may have very different values, and that's great. We are here in part to accept each other and how loving to yourself to stay in solidarity, to stay committed, to stay loyal to what is precious to you. You are not here to please anyone but yourself and your values and your goals. That is what you are here to embody. The next one is privilege your dreams. Oh my goodness. I know when I was younger, people around me basically told me to abandon my dreams. They were not realistic. They were not practical. I needed to just turn my eyes away from my precious dreams and do something that seemed more appropriate to the adults in my life. So this is very painful. This is not loving. Again, you are here to bring through your dreams. That is why you, in part, why you came onto this planet and incarnated in your beautiful vessel. It is to bring through your dreams. That's why they feel so important, because they are so important. They are so important. And your dreams are God's dreams. God's dreams are your dreams. You are God, God is you. Honor your dreams. Stay committed to your dreams. There is no plan B with your dreams. Your dreams are precious. This is a very loving practice to stay connected to your precious dreams. The next practice is somewhat related to this. It's do not settle. Do not settle for relationships, for situations, for jobs, for circumstances that do not feel aligned. Do not settle. If you are not happy, let it go. If you are not happy, there is something better for you that is waiting for you. All you need to do is let go of what is currently not working in your life, and something better for you is waiting to come in. Do not settle. The next practice is pivot. So your precious higher self throughout your life is going to invite you to pivot, to again let go of something that may not be working in your life in order to pursue something that is a better fit at this point in time. The thinking mind, the rational mind, the ego, is pretty comfortable just doing something habitually. Oh, but this is what I've always done. I've always been married to this person, or I've always done this job. Maybe it's not so great, but it's all I know. Pivot. Take the invitation from your higher self and pivot and let go. Don't be too attached to any relationships, to any situations, to any circumstances. Trust your guidance. Trust your soul's plan for you. Trust that you can pivot and something is going to be even better than you even could have expected. Okay, a couple more. The next one is act from faith, not fear. So fear may come up, that's okay, but again, we can make this choice to choose faith. It really is a choice. It really is just a choice. It's totally normal to have fear. I have fear come up almost around everything that I do. Really, almost around everything that I do, I have fear come up. And I just continually come back to faith. Faith is actually my given middle name, and I'm very grateful for it because it's just a constant reminder to live in faith. So wherever your heart is really pulling you, choose faith. Think of all the things that can go right rather than the things that can go wrong, and move ahead. Choose faith. This is so loving. It's so loving to yourself to live in faith. And the last practice I have for us today is do not participate in non-loving interactions with others. So humans can have a hard time. Sometimes people can act in non-loving ways for lots of very understandable reasons. They're hurt, they're in fear, they've had trauma that hasn't been healed, and we know that hurt people can hurt people. So we can give a blanket of grace and forgiveness to people who hurt us, but we don't have to participate. So for instance, if you're in a conversation and it starts to become non-loving, you can excuse yourself. This has been a really big learning for me recently. I've had a lot of non-loving interactions, and sometimes I was staying in these interactions thinking that, oh, we'll get to a place of harmony, we'll get to a place of peace if I just stay. But often if the other person is just really hurt or acting from fear, there's really nothing you can do in that moment to broker peace or harmony. That person really has to get out of it on their own. So you do not ever have to participate in a non-loving interaction. You can very graciously just excuse yourself from the interaction and later maybe try the conversation again. So these are 10 really tangible, concrete practices that we can all do to show and be self-love in our lives. And of course, there are so many other ones. I'd love to hear any of your practices for self-love. If you want to add them into the comments, I would love to hear about your self-love practices. Also in the episode description, there is a link to the book that I mentioned in the beginning, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. It's an amazing book. It's very small, it's a quick read, and it really did change my life, this book. So thank you so much for joining me. So much love to you. So much love to you and your self-love journey. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please share any comments, and please subscribe to my channel. We also have an amazing You Are Your Own Hero Patreon community where we support each other in being our own hero in our own lives. So thank you so much. And again, so much love to you.